Family Reunion 2021, Estes Park, Colorado. We took the mountain route to Estes Park by way of Central City and Nederland, and this is the Opera House in Central City. A little short of Estes Park, along Highway 7, is Mount Meeker, which we see here, almost 14,000 feet. And here right next to and below Mount Meeker is St. Catherine's Chapel on the Rock. The church is surrounded by lots of wildflowers, and they're quite attractive. Here's a view of the church straight on, and here's one from the back. And here we have a picture of the interior. Overlooking the church is this statue of Christ. A few miles further along, the traveler is presented with this view of Long's Peak. We stopped for our lunch on the outskirts of Estes Park at Mary's Lake, where we saw this beautiful floral bouquet growing next to our picnic site. And then it was time for a rest at our rental house while we waited for the rest of the family to arrive. We started the next day with this view off the balcony of our rental house. After breakfast, we entered Rocky Mountain National Park and drove to the shuttle lot on the Bear Lake Road. Then we took the shuttle down to Bear Lake. This is Bear Lake, which is at 9,475 feet. A 1.8-mile trail leaving from Bear Lake leads to Emerald Lake, which is at 10,080 feet. And on the trail along the way, you could see Nymph Lake and Dream Lake. Here's a view on the way to Nymph Lake. And up here, you can see a glacier. We have now arrived at Nymph Lake, the first of 3 lakes along this hike. Nymph Lake would seem to be a popular resting place for ducks, as well as children. These pretty flowers could be found along the stream that runs from Dream down to Nymph Lake. And here's Dream Lake, framed by these impressive peaks. As we hiked from Dream to Emerald Lake, we encountered this elk along the side of the trail. If you look closely, you can see a small fawn hidden in the grass on either side of the doe. This stream connects Emerald Lake with Dream Lake. This, with its own impressive mountain backdrop, is Emerald Lake. And the mountain backdrop is really impressive. Heading back down the trail, we found that the elk had gotten up. The next morning, we returned to Rocky Mountain National Park to the shuttle lot and took the shuttle to the Glacier Gorge trailhead. And there, all 11 of us entered the trail to Alberta Falls, 0.8 miles one way. The trail up to the falls provided some rather rugged views, some ferocious animals, and some very serene, peaceful views as well. Jen, our most intrepid outdoors person, decided to ford that peaceful, serene spot, and, as we can see in the final picture, made it back in one piece. The hike was capped by this view of Alberta Falls, and by climbing to the top of the falls, one got this fairly impressive view of the valley below. The downhill hike back to the trailhead gave us an opportunity for enjoying the wildflowers, which were seen in profusion. On Tuesday, we enjoyed the rental house while some people went in and explored the town of Estes Park. In the afternoon, we accompanied the Shamrells as they took their children to an amusement park, and we also saw this elk in the river right outside the park. Here we see Henry and Jackson about to initiate an adventure on the giant slide.
Here they go. Uh-oh.
Is it light?
Come on, Henry. Woo! Can we go get them? Come on, you can do it.
On the next try, Amy, Bob, and James joined in. And Henry lost his hat. On Wednesday morning, the Shamrells joined us as we drove up the 11-mile dirt Old Fall River Road. Our first stop was at Chasm Falls. Our next stop was at the Valley Look Back Turnoff, where you could park your car and look back to the valley down below, which was unfortunately fairly smoky because of fires in Oregon and California. And that's where we were parked. Also visible from the Valley Look Back site was this glacier. Somewhat further up the canyon, we made a stop just to admire Fall River running through the woods. Another stop provided this view of the encircling mountains. Fall River Road ends at Trail Ridge Road, close to the Alpine Visitor Center, which we see in the center of the picture right there. And from this vantage point, we could look down at the valley down below that we had traversed. From the Alpine Visitor Center, you can look down into this bowl, which is scoured out by previous glaciers, and see the lakes that are left down below, as well as some elk.
It's not a balance, it's a wall.
This view from the Visitor Center is taken from 11,796 feet. From the Visitor Center, you can take a walk up this 217 stairs to the top of that hill, and then walk along a small paved path to get what is supposed to be a spectacular view of the mountains around. But because of the smoke, there was very little view, and all we could see was this sign proving that we'd gotten to the top. Back at the rental house, we all posed for a family portrait. In the evening, we celebrated the end of our last day at Estes Park by making s'mores. And it wasn't just the adults that were making s'mores, but the small ones also took a part. And I think it can be said that a good time was had by one and all.